All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. We are back. Press that like button. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas, everyone. I think everything looks all right. Yeah, everything looks good on my end. All right. Look 1 year older. Yeah. Appreciate that, Margin. 29 years old, man. Morning, guys. Morning. Welcome back. How we doing? How about the Giants? Yeah, you know what, man? I'm happy with that game. I'm not even upset about it. I don't think Eagles fans should feel so good about that. Should feel so good about that Giants game, to be honest. Option selection. I'm always at the money, Doug. That's where I'm trading, man. At the money. Typically at the money, same week. Contracts until around Wednesday. On a Thursday, I usually like to push it to next week's, just to avoid that short expiration, theta decay. So at the money contracts Monday through Wednesday, same week. And then on Thursday, I go at the money next week's. That's what I do. How was my birthday, Anna? It was good. With family pretty much every day for the last week. Last 3-4 days. So it's been good. Enjoying the family. Enjoying friends. It's been fun, man. It's been good. Welcome back, everyone. Hope you guys had a good holiday as well. Hope you guys enjoyed your time. Enjoyed times with friends, family. It's tough. It's tough working today. I'm not gonna lie. It feels like we should be off all week, to be honest. And that's something to note about the market this week, guys. Is there is going to be a lot of people off the entire week, right? You think? I'm gonna guess that majority of the city, New York City banks are not at their top volatility. Their top. What I'm trying to say is the volume is going to be lighter today through end of week, without a doubt. Right? We're gonna see a decrease in volume, decrease in activity on the market, and that is something definitely keep in mind this entire trading week. I don't think this is gonna be one of the strongest volume trading weeks that you're gonna see. The year is wrapping up, and it's gonna be some low volume in my opinion. So just be careful of that. Be aware of that. That could be something that you witness today, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday trading. I don't expect there to be too much craziness going on. You have a really empty economic calendar. You have an empty earnings calendar. It's pretty much checkout time until end of year. So just keep that in mind, right? If you're going to trade this week, probably bring it down a little bit, bring that volume down, bring the size that you're trading down a little bit. I don't think, I agree, Walter. I'm definitely going to take it easy this week. I definitely don't feel like I'm going to be at my A+ today. It just feels weird, right? It's just a weird day. After Christmas, the day after Christmas, you're here trading. It's just, I don't know, man. It's a little strange to me. So definitely going to watch, right? Always watching, always learning, always taking in data points on the market, making sure we know where the market is. But am I going to be trading with my full size today? Probably not. I'll take the setups that I like I always do. Shooters got to shoot. That's what we always say in the chat. But just make sure you keep that in mind today, guys. Volume's going to be light, and it's going to be probably a little bit of a slow day. We definitely saw some choppy markets the last few days before the holiday. I'm going to expect a little bit more of the same today. So just a thing to keep in mind, all right? Thing to keep in mind. Any tequila? So Michael Jordan, I think it's Michael Jordan, has a tequila, and it's really good. If you guys have ever tried it. It's, what's it called? Cincoro tequila. Very good, man. I had it this weekend, and I like it. I like it a lot. This is it right here. I'm going to pull it up. Right here. Cincoro. If you guys have never had it, I would recommend giving it a try. If you like tequila. Right there. Cincoro Añejo Tequila. Give it a shot if you guys are tequila drinkers. Very good. You can sip it. And yeah, this is Michael Jordan's tequila, actually. So he did a good job. Did a good job. All right, let's do it. Let's get started. Welcome back, guys. Thank you again for being here. Press that like button if you could. If you guys are new here, press that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you're a repeat, then press that like button. You know what to do. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. So, first things first, economic calendar. Gonna pull that up. And you guys can see right here, it's pretty light, man. There's really not much on this economic calendar. So right here, you guys can see Monday, December 25th. That was yesterday. That was Christmas. Merry Christmas to all once again. Happy holidays. And you can see, obviously, market was closed. Bank holiday. Yes. Today, Tuesday, 9 a.m., HPI. I don't even know what HPI is. That is new to me. So let me just... Let me see, what is HPI? HPI. HPI. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I am not familiar with what that is. Anyone can answer that for me? Oh, that's a house pricing index? Okay, I just never seen that abbreviation before. All right, so Forex Factory has it as a HPI. That is the house price index. Okay, I've heard of that. So that's house price index today at 9 a.m. I don't expect that to do anything on the market. That's really not a big. That's really not a big event. I've just never seen it used in that abbreviation before, so that's new to me. Richmond Manufacturing Index tomorrow. I don't expect that to do anything. Thursday, you got your normal unemployment claims. Maybe a little bit there, but I don't expect much there. Pending home sales at 10 o'clock on Thursday, and then we end the week Friday with Chicago PMI. So nothing too big, right? Nothing that I think is going to greatly affect this market. Nothing that I think we need to really be cautious of on the intraday for the economic calendar. So it's going to be sort of light there. Next week, you got some stuff. You got the 3rd of January. You got the manufacturing PMI. You got JOLTS there as well. FOMC minutes on Wednesday of next week. Non-farm Thursday. Unemployment claims Thursday. Average hourly earnings Friday. Unemployment rate Friday. So next week, you get a little bit more activity as the new year starts. Obviously, we are off on Monday for the New Year's Day. That is right there. Monday, the market is closed. So we have another beautiful 3-day weekend this week coming up. So this week is right here, and it's pretty light on the economic. So really nothing to be focused on there. Okay? All right. Let's jump straight into the futures, and let's get a review of what the levels that we need to be watching are today. So right here, Friday. All right. So Friday, one of the major levels that held Friday sort of near close, end of day, was right here. We have this previous double top high that was on Thursday of last week. We had a double top high, double top rejection, which was also support here and rejections here. That was all at 16,970. So 16,970 was a previous double top high on Thursday of last week. Now, if we go to the 5-minute chart and we look at Friday's action, let's look at this day over day on Friday. So we can see right here, we have Thursday double top highs, right? Very clear. Thursday double top high, 16,970. Now on Friday, we can see that we generally maintain that level. We had a little bit of a panic sell-off, similar to what we saw on Wednesday of last week. A little bit of an end-of-day panic, which quickly got bought back up, right? And right back above that 16,970 level. So what are we going to watch today? We're going to obviously watch that 16,970 demand below, right? So that is our demand below to be watching. If we see any kind of downside movement today, we want to be aware that there could be demand at that 16,970 on the NASDAQ futures. That is the Thursday double top highs, which turned into a demand on Friday intraday. So that is very clear in my opinion. So if I'm going to look to short today, right, I don't want to be short into that 16,970 level because that is very clearly a potential demand that could hold on today. All right, so that is number one. 16,970 on the NASDAQ futures. That is very clearly, in my opinion, a demand to be watching today. That could very clearly be, right, if this market just sort of wants to, if we just sort of stay sideways here, right, if this market just sort of is sort of choppy, really no momentum, what I like to call it is a rubber band day, where you just revert to the mean, right? That's pretty much what we had on both Thursday and Friday of last week. We had any extension would revert back to the mean. That's pretty much what we had on Friday. And if we see something like that today, if we get an extension down into that demand, you could rubber band back to that supply and just keep seeing the same thing all day. So be careful taking any shorts. If we start approaching that 16,970 demand, right, that could very well be an area that maintains today. All right, so that's number one. Number two is we can very clearly see the supply rejections that are stepping in here around 17,050. If we go back to the 30-minute chart and we zoom out, right, we can see the 17,050 rejections here, general rejection there. We went a little bit higher there, but we can see that rejection again on Friday of last week, and we can see the rejections that are coming in the pre-market today. So right now, guys, it looks to me like a channel, right, between this zone, right? This is sort of the zone that I'll be watching today, and just being cautious within it, right? Being cautious within that zone between 16,970, 17,050, right? The market could very well just trade within this zone today. We could see those Friday high supply, that Friday high supply reject again. We could see that Friday low demand, that Thursday high supply, right, turn into demand again today. So just be aware of that, right? The market is generally in a channel here between that 16,970 and that 17,045, 17,050 supply. All right? So that's pretty clear right there, in my opinion. That would be the first sort of zone to be watching. And if we break out of that zone, that is where we could see some of that, you know, that movement, that actual tradable action, the extension that we would want to look to trade. So, for example, if the NASDAQ is able to hold above Friday's highs today, right, if we see a nice hold above that Friday high, that could be where we take our long entry for more upside. Same to the other side, right? If we see a downside move under that Friday low, if we turn Thursday's double top highs back into a rejection here, that could be our short entry for potential downside back to that 860 demand. So for me, it is all about what happens at 16,970 and 17,050. Those are my major levels, my main channel to be watching here today. Between Friday highs and Thursday highs, right? I'm watching Friday highs and Thursday highs. Those are the two zones, those are the two levels that I'm watching for potential demand and potential supply. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. I think those are some really clear levels to be paying attention to. And if the market is sort of slow today, if we don't have much volume, if the market wants to stay generally sideways, then that is absolutely the zone that I think you will stay within. 17,050, 16,970. That is what I would be watching. And if you get breaks, right? If you get breaks to either side of that zone, that is where I think continuation can happen. Either above 17,050 or below 16,970. That is where that continuation could happen. All right? Okay. QQQ. Very similar. Same exact read, right? And a very, very similar chart here. So here's the QQQ, right? And you can see we have the exact same type of read, the same type of zones here. You have this high from Monday of last week. You have this demand on Tuesday, Monday to Tuesday. You have this demand between Tuesday and Wednesday, which turned into a rejection on Thursday, which turned back into a support on Friday. Right? And that is all at the exact same level of $408 on the QQQ. So, if the QQQ drops today, right, and you start to come into that 408, that could be the demand that we maintain today. You can see all the reactions at that exact same level, 408. Rejections on Monday, support on Tuesday, support on Wednesday, rejections on Thursday, support on Friday, right? And so if you come into that level, 408, right, that is where you watch for that potential demand bounce. That is what I would be paying attention to first. Now, on the upside, we can see 410, right? 410 rejections, 410 rejections, and 410 rejections. So, what's our zone? Pretty clear, 408 to 410. All right, that's sort of our channel this week, or at least today. Right, we watch to see what happens if we push into that 408, or that 410, do we reject it? If we come back down into that 408, do we have support there, right? And we watch that general zone, right, until something breaks. Let me go ahead and draw that zone again. If we break one of these sides, for example, if we break 410, one second. If we break 410, like this, and we hold above 410, that could be your long entry, right? Above 410, break and retest above 410. Definitely a watch today. On the flip side, if you break below 408 and you start to turn 408 into rejections, that could be your short side entry, right? For a move back maybe to that 406.50, which held right here. 406.50 held, which was this previous high right here. Okay, so pretty much the same read there on the QQQ. Very clear levels. You have this 408 demand, and you have this 410 supply. And that's about a 2-point range that the QQQ could very well trade within today, right? And I would be just cautious of this type of trade today. 408 to 410, right? Those are some big levels. And if the NASDAQ really doesn't want to make a big move today, and you just stay within those zones, then make sure you're aware of that, right? Trust those levels. This is the same read as 16,970 to 17,050. You can see how similar that is. 16,970 to 17,050. And on the QQQ, it is 408 to 410. Okay? Very similar as the NASDAQ futures. Very clear levels there. You can see that, and you can see that. All right? So watch those levels today. All right? ES. S&P 500 futures. So we're getting this little uptrend, right? You can see this little uptrend that has formed here on the ES since the extreme lows after that sort of panic selling on Wednesday. So we had that big panic on Wednesday right into that major demand down here, right? Huge demand down at 47.50, 47.60. And you can see since that day, we have started to stair step back to the upside, sort of creating a little bit of a channel back to the upside. Now, the level that held on Friday, on the pullback, right, this 47.86 area, 47.87 area, why is that important? Well, you can see right here, previous highs, support right there, right? And look at this support right there, right? Look at that pullback on Friday intraday. If we go to the 5-minute chart, look at where that ES held on Friday intraday. This is Friday. We had a big downside move Friday afternoon, right there. Big downside move, very quick, very aggressive, but it held very well at this 47.87 level, right? And that 47.87 level, if we go back to the 30-minute chart, right, that hold on Friday is this previous high, right? So that's still pretty good, right? That's a good hold on the market. The fact that the ES was able to hold above the previous highs, right, over here at 47.87 and turn that into a very strong demand on Friday afternoon is pretty impressive. Now, the next level that is important that held on Friday is right here, right? And so you can see we have these previous highs and previous lows around this 47.97, 4800, which was also a high on Thursday, right? And look at where the ES held end of day. You can see that hold around that 47.97, 4800 on the ES. So today, after seeing that, right, you're watching demand at 47.97, 4800, and you're watching demand at 47.87, right? Those are your two demands to be paying attention to. 4800, 47.86, 47.87, general area there, right? Those are your two demands to be paying attention to. Your supplies, right? 48.20, 48.20 looks a little tough, right? And then that 48.30, that's that extreme high above. So what's your zone today on the ES? It's right here, right? It's right here. Around 4800 to 4820. It's about a 20-point range on the ES to be paying attention to. If you push to the upside, right? If you push to the upside into 4820, be careful of that rejection. If you push to the downside, back to that 4800, watch for that demand. Pretty clear channel there. In my opinion, right? You can very clearly see the rejections on Friday. You're not going to long into Friday's highs, right? And you can see the demands that stepped up at 4800 and 47.87. You're not going to start shorting, right? You're not going to start entering shorts at demand today, right? Those are the two demands that could hold up. Okay? So 48.20 looks to be that big time supply above. That's that big rejection on a Friday of last week, right? And then you can see the 47.97 demand and the 47.87 demand. All right? That's that. That's the ES. SPY. 30-minute chart SPY. Let me zoom in here for you guys. I don't know why this thing continues. I got to change my expansion area. So if you guys are, just to let you guys know a little thing, if you're not familiar with TOS, if you type in something like that, and there's a lot of black space here on the right side, a lot of blank space, sort of like this, you can see the SPY and all that space over there. You gotta change your expansion area right here. I don't know why mine is set to 1,000. That's probably because I'm on my laptop. You can change it to, like, let's say 100, and you can see it fills in majority of your screen. Okay, just a little tip there. All right, so Friday, the big drop, right? The drop that happened it's not big, but the aggressive drop that we saw on Friday afternoon, where did it hold, right? The Friday afternoon drop held at 472. 472, 472, 472, 472, and here's your hold on Friday afternoon, right at 472. So that is absolutely a demand to be paying attention to. If you drop to the downside today, keep an eye on that 472 on the SPY. Be careful of being short into that 472. All right? Next, 474, 473.70, right? Look how clear this is. You have this high right here at 473.70. That is the high from Thursday, December 14th. Now you see that level turned into demand here on Tuesday of last week, and that level turned into a demand here on Wednesday of last week, right? Now look at where the ES is holding above this morning. Right above that 473.70, 474 level. If the ES maintains above this level today, right, this could move higher. That is a very important previous high here, previous lows here, right? And that you can see that it's trying to hold right now. If you want to default it, you just save your setup, man. I know you can't see it on my screen, but on the top right of TOS, you can go to setup and you can just save the workspace. And if you save the workspace, then it will stay at that 100 expansion area. You got to make sure you save your workspace. So that 473.70 level looks very important to me. And you can also see if I zoom even closer in, right? If I really get detailed here, you can see on Friday, see right here on Friday where we held that area around that 473.70, right? That is the exact same area right here, 473.70, 473.70, and you can see we held it on there on Friday, and we are back above it here in the pre-market. So that's my first watch, right? That 473.70 demand on the ES, or I'm sorry, on the SPY, right? That's important. We can also see, if we go back to the 15-minute chart, we could also make a case for some demand around this 473 level. Why? All right, if I zoom in here and look at this 15-minute chart, we could also make a case for some demand to step up around that 473. That 473 is Thursday's highs, and it is where we held here pretty much at close on Friday. So you can see we had an upside move on Friday, which pulled back and held that Thursday high right there. Thursday high, 473, held very well on Friday of last week. So there is definitely some important demands down below on the SPY to be sort of, to be cautious of if you're shorting into this move. There's a lot of hold levels that continue to hold, right? We have this 473.70, 473.70. We have this 473, right? And we even have this 472 demand. Those are a lot of levels to be cautious of if you are shorting to the downside. So make sure you're aware of that. Market is still holding key technical levels, right? This is still a strong stair-stepping move that we have been seeing. Now, to the upside. The supply levels to be paying attention to. If you are moving to the upside, what do we have to be cautious of? 475, right? 475. We can see right there, we have that 475 supply, 475.30, and we can see that is the same spot that rejected on Friday of last week. So, what's our zone today, right? What is our zone on the SPY? I think it's right between that 475 supply, and I'm going to call it that 473 demand. But obviously, you also need to watch that 473.70. So I'm thinking it's this 475 supply, right? This 473.70 demand, right? But you also need to be aware of that 473 right here, that 473.70, and that 472. Those are some big levels below. And I would be very careful shorting into any of those levels if we move to the downside here today. Okay? All right, I hope that makes sense. I hope that gives you a little bit of an outline. If you're sticking to just the futures, I think it's very clear here, right? If you're sticking to those futures, you have that 4,800, that 47.85 below, and that 48.20 above. All right, let's go to the Russell real quick. I know some of you guys like the Russell, and man, oh man, is that pretty again, right? We've been sort of talking about that 2030 level on the Russell, and look what the Russell did on Thursday into Friday. Look at that hold on the Russell over 2030, right? Look at that hold on the Russell over 2030, 2030, 2030, 2030, right? And look at that hold above that 2030 level on the Russell, and that continuation to the upside. Today, you can sort of see, right? You're sort of right at that supply high. So I'm going to sort of edit that supply high because it looks like it needs to be a little bit edited there. You can see that we have that supply high and we're sitting right at it. That 2065, right? 2065, you can see right there that high from Wednesday of last week, and we are sitting right at that level. that is, let's see, if we go back, let's see where that comes from. We can extend that to the left. Let's go back on the daily chart. Let's get a little bit more time. Let's see if we can find that level on the daily somewhere here. Okay, so we got this 2065 high here. We have this 2065 general zone. You're starting to come into some interesting levels up here. So you have, let me go ahead and zoom back in here. 4-hour chart, 360. Okay, so your next level to watch is this extreme high right here, right? You can see this extreme high right here, 2090, right? 2090. So that's one, 2090. And if we keep going over, what's the next one? 2130. So you got 2130. That's one of your supplies. You got 2090 right here. That's another one, right? And then if we keep going over, we can see that we're sort of right above or right at that 2065. So what I would be watching today, here's how I'd sort of trade this. I'd got 2090 supply. I got 2130 supply, right? Those are my supplies above. And so I would look for what? I would look for possibly a pullback to 2030 for longs, right? I'd rather be long on a pullback. Or you look to see if the Russell maintains above this high for a push into that 2090 level. Okay? So 2065, that's Friday highs. 2030, that's that demand low. 2090 supply up, and 2130 supply above as well. All right? That's the Russell. That's what I got on the Russell there. All right, it's 8:30. We have 1,300 people, a little bit less people than usual. I'm assuming that's probably because, at least I'm hoping that's because it's a tough day, right? Tough day to be looking at the charts. December 26th, day after Christmas. If you guys could be so kind and press that like button for me. Help me get to 1,000 likes today. It might be a little bit more tough due to less people in here, but if you guys could, if you enjoy the content, if you enjoy the live streams, if you could take a second, press that like button. I'd much appreciate that. That would be a great little Christmas present, a Christmas miracle. It'd be a Christmas miracle to get to 1,000 likes today. All right. So, some individual stocks. No after Christmas Day sale on Discord memberships like Black Friday. No. Last time I ran a sale, pretty much I would say 80% of the people that joined on a sale left within like a month, right? Because all they want to do is they want to come in, they want to poke around for cheap for a month, and then they leave, right? I'm not interested in those people. I want people that are really committed and want to stay part of the group. So if you're just out here looking for sales, man, it's a tough clientele to be attracted to. Not gonna lie. Okay, let's continue. Maybe New Year's. Maybe New Year's. Who knows? So, 247. 247 on Tesla, right? Rejections, right? And look at the demand that has stepped up on Tesla. 247. You can see right here, rejections, and the demand has stepped up on Tesla. So I still believe that Tesla, right, is turning this level into a very interesting demand to be watching. Right? I still believe that this hold above this level is very important. Right? Above this 247 is very important. Right? And so, right, I'm going to continue to watch Tesla here. I know it's been sideways. I don't love it in this channel, right? That's for sure. I really don't like Tesla as it trades within this channel. But this channel is a stair-stepping higher than where it was previously. All right, you can see this was your previous channel, and this is your new channel. And so this is a stair-step higher on Tesla still, as long as it's above that 247. And in my eyes, that continues to keep it relatively bullish. Now you can see here on the weekly chart, that bull flag is still pretty much setting up, right? You can see that weekly chart bull flag, we held above that flag on last week, right? That last weekly candle maintained above that flag. So if we see some more strength on this market, I would definitely watch Tesla as a candidate to continue higher out of this flag break. As long, and this is very important, make sure you listen to this part, right? As long as it's above 247. I believe if it breaks the 247 level, then it is all over, right? If Tesla turns this back into a rejection, if Tesla falls back below these highs and turns them into a rejection, it is over, right? That is momentum loss. That is not something that you want to see if this wants to continue higher. So what do you really need for this move to actually start to materialize? You need a break over 260, man. Like that's everything. You need a break over 260. If you can get a break over 260, I think this can start. But for now, we have to stay patient because for now, Tesla is trapped in this zone. It is trapped between 260 and 247. Okay, so what I would be doing is this right here. Right click on your chart, create alert at or above. Right click on your chart, create alert at or below. And I would just simply wait until one of those alerts gets hit. Because if they start to break, right, if Tesla starts to break back below or break above, this could get interesting. All right, so something to watch, and something I am very much paying attention to for the last couple of days, last couple of, really the last couple of weeks. All right, next. Nvidia. Let me get a little bit more time here because I need to really show you the importance of this hold at 485. So if we go all the way back here on this hourly chart, I'm going to delete this just for clarity's purposes. I'm going to delete this for now and delete that for now. Actually, no, I'm going to delete all of it for now. I just want to share with you how important this 485 level is on Nvidia. So you can see right here, you have 485. You have 485 rejections, right? You have 485 rejections, and you have 485 turning back into support, right? So hopefully that color coding can sort of display this for you. You went from demand at 485 to supply at 485 to supply again at 485 back to demand at 485. So what side are you on? So this is how I sort of trade, right? If I'm at green supply, I'm looking for upside. If I see Nvidia under if you're at green demand, I'm looking for upside. If I see Nvidia below, turning that back into a red supply, I'm looking for downside. So as of right now, I am still looking for upside on Nvidia if it can maintain above that 485 demand, right? Very clear, right? And you can see this little downtrend that is sort of formed here, right? And so what I'm watching here is how strong does Nvidia want to maintain this 485 level, which has been a level here for months, right? Look at that, right? You have demand, supply, and back into demand. So 485 is what I wanted to point out first. That is a big ass level. It's a big level to be paying attention to. And for now, it is maintaining. So if we go to the 30-minute chart, you can see right here, 485. From supply, right, to demand. Very clear, right? Very clear there. So as long as Nvidia is above that, you have to be careful of those demand bounces at 485. Now, for Nvidia to get a real move to the upside, there's a very clear level that needs to break, and that is 490, right? 490 has very much held this lower. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that out now. You can see here at 490, this supply rejection is still very much alive. And so for me, to really take this market, to take Nvidia long, I need to see a solid hold over 470. You have support there, which turned into very clear rejections here over the last few trading days. 490. So what I need to see here is a hold above 490 for more upside, right? Maybe for a move into this 495, maybe back towards that 500, right? Those are my next levels that I'm paying attention to, 495 and 500. Those are my levels. But before I can even look for upside here, right, even though I am liking the demand hold, right, even though I like this demand hold, I still need to see us get over this 490. That 490 supply looks heavy, and it's something that I'd be paying attention to. So 490, big level above, right? But that 485 demand is very important. Pay attention to that. AMD. So AMD seems to be wanting to make a little bit of a higher low here, it seems, on this chart. You can see this 138 low, and it was previously this 136 low. So you can see AMD sort of stair-stepping. Right here, you can see that we held above that 138 level on Friday. Even with some downside, AMD maintained above that 138 demand. Today, 140 is where we need to be watching. And so right now, you can see AMD's trying. It's not great, but it's trying to do a little dance here at 140. It's right above 140. So what I would be watching is, what does AMD do here? What does AMD do here at 140 today? That would be my watch. Does 140 hold? Does 140 turn into a new low? If 140 here turns into a new low, if we start to see some strong demand above that 140 level, right, that could be sort of that level that pushes us up towards that 142 supply again. There is some very clear supply above at 142, okay? So 140, 142, and 138 on AMD, okay? Those are my levels. Let's go to Apple. Apple. So Apple's been relatively weak, okay? Apple's been sort of weak over the last few days. And I sort of believe that Apple at this point, if I delete all these levels, let me just delete this all for 1 second. I believe that AMD needs to come back down. Apple needs to come back down to this 192. I believe that is where Apple is potentially sliding towards before it finds any type of a demand hold. Back at that 192 on Apple. Now, the reason I say that is because 192 is really that major level that previously pushed Apple to the upside. So if we look at this 1 hour chart, all right, let's look at this 1 hour chart together. Here is 192. Right here, and these are previously rejections, rejections, and rejections, right? Rejections at 192, rejections at 192, rejections at 192. That 192 level turned into demand, and we are coming back down to it. So in my opinion, what I would be looking for is, as Apple trades lower, does it start to have a long entry around this 192? Is there a long entry that formulates around that 192 level? That is something I'd absolutely be watching here over the next few days. If Apple falls below 192, that's where the downside continues to that 188. Okay, so for me, I think the major level here is 192 on Apple. That is the watch that I would be watching. That would be the level that I would be watching. 192 on Apple. Okay? To the upside, the supply is very clearly at 195. That has been a tough level, and a level that actually rejected on Friday of last week. 195. So 195 supply, 192 demand. And I like that 192 demand quite a bit, right? Because you can see the reactions at this area. So 192 on Apple would be the level that I'm looking for. All right. Let's talk a little bit about this Microsoft, because this could be setting up here, man. God, I get an itch on my nose. It just won't go away. Right on the outside of my nose. It just will not go away. That's why you guys keep seeing me touch my nose. Man, I don't know what it is. And it's not what you think it is. It is not that, I promise. So, Microsoft, daily chart, right? We've been hawking this thing for weeks. Weeks and weeks and weeks. We have hawked this Microsoft chart, right? And look at what it is doing still. You have that previous high on Microsoft, that previous all-time high on Microsoft at 366, right? That was previously No, it's not. Just a little sus. Some nose powder. I gotta powder my nose. So 366, right? We saw that previous high on Microsoft. Previous all-time high on Microsoft right there at 366. And what has Microsoft done here for like 2 weeks, right? It is just holding above that previous all-time high. And it has created a very valid channel here. So if I go to the 90-day, right, look at how clear this Microsoft maintain above that previous all-time high is. Right above there at 366. And so I believe that general hold is very strong. Right? I think that's a very bullish hold on Microsoft that could create further upside. And I've continued to think that for the last few weeks. However, I don't want to be long into this 376 supply. At least not yet, right? And so the reason I haven't longed Microsoft is I'm not loving this 376 supply right here, right? You can see all these rejections that have stepped in on Microsoft, right? Multiple rejections at that 376. So what I would look for today is, does Microsoft turn 376 into a support? If at any point here in the near future, Microsoft decides to turn $376 into a support level, I think you will get that sort of continuation move towards that 380 and possibly even higher, right? If this thing wants to really hold on and starts to get going here, right? This is a very solid daily chart. Look at that daily chart. That is a very solid hold above that previous all-time high. So could that result in further upside here? Absolutely, in my opinion. But you need to be a little bit more cautious on the short-term stuff, right? We can't ignore some of the short-term supplies, especially if we're short-term traders. So I wouldn't want to see 376 hold. If I start to see that hold there, I'm looking for that push to 380. And if you get over 380, right, I think that can really continue. So big watch for me today. Microsoft 376. Does it hold above? I'm going to be watching that. I like that watch. Meta is another one that has done the stair stepper, man. Meta has been on the stair stepper. Right? And you can see that right here. Let me show that to you right here. All right, look at how Meta has sort of stair stepped to the upside. Previous highs into new lows. Previous lows here, holding as demand, right? That stair step held. Previous, you had a little bit of action here around that 351, and it's holding again on Friday of this week. So you continue to see these higher lows coming into Meta, right? You can see right here, these higher lows continue to get built on Meta. Now, some people look at this bearish, right? And I could understand, right? Some people look at this as potentially bearish. And I could understand that, right? This is something you need to be aware of. If Meta fails to make a new high and really rejects this 355 area, right? This could be a little bit of an ascending, I guess you would call it an ascending triangle, ascending wedge, whatever they like to call it. If it starts to break this uptrend, all right, if you see another rejection here and you start to break this uptrend, right, this could be looked at as a bearish setup if you reject that 355. However, I would be careful front running that idea because that could have been an idea multiple times over the last few trading days, right? You could have thought that was going to happen here, right? You could have thought, okay, we're going to break the trend there. Nope. Okay, we're about to break the trend. Nope, right? And so be careful trying to play the trend break because you can see every time you've attempted to short for a trend break, it has not broke, okay? So just be careful. I did it again. Where am I? There we go. So just be careful, right? If you do take that idea short, be careful of that trend not breaking because it might just continue to hold. And if Meta does end up holding this trend and breaking over 355, this could be a really solid upside move, right? Over 355. So Meta, very interesting. You can see the demand that stepped in on Friday. I would be watching that at 351, and then I'd be watching the supply at 355. Okay? 355, 351 on Meta. Keep an eye on that trend as well. All right? Let's go to Amazon. Let's go to Amazon because there's a pretty clear level to be watching here on Amazon, and that is right at 154. 154 Amazon. Here it is. You guys can see Amazon 154. Very clear supply. You have these rejections all at this 154 level, which is rejecting again today. Okay? So it looks to me like 154 to around 152.70. Now, why 152.70? Let me explain that to you in a second. We have 152.70. We have 152 demand. If we go here, you can see right here, 152.70, 152.70, 152.70, 152.70. So you got a pretty tight channel here on Amazon. Right between this 154 and 152.70, you need to wait for one of these sides to break. All right? 154, 152.70, 152 below. If you can get a hold above that 154, that is where I think you can get continuation. But that is something you need to wait for. Let's go to Netflix. Netflix is sort of interesting here. Netflix is pulling back to that previous high, and I would be paying attention to potential longs near this 484, right? But we talked about this on Friday. We said you do not want to take you don't want to take entries, right, extended over the demand, right? Because you have to sit through drawdown. So I don't like entries up in here because you have to potentially sit through some drawdown even if you come back down to your demand. So what I would be looking for is pullbacks to that 484 and potentially looking to see if Netflix maintains this 484 demand and creates a new long opportunity. I'd be all eyes on that 484 on Netflix. I think that's going to be about it, guys. It's 8:52. I got to post some charts in the community for the members, so I do have to take a few minutes to do that today. It's 8:52. We'll go over the futures here one more time, just so you guys can check out the futures levels one more time on SPY, QQQ, NASDAQ, and ES. If you guys could press that like button for me, that would be great. We're almost to 1,000 likes. Here are your levels today. Once again, if you're coming in late, here's your levels on the NASDAQ futures. Demand, 16,970. Supply, 17,045. Okay? 16,970, 1745. That's on the NASDAQ. On the QQQ, you have 410 supply, and you have 408 demand. 408 demand, 410 supply on the QQQ. On the SPY, you have demand at both 473.70 and 473 today. Those would be my levels to watch on the downside. To the upside, I'd be watching that 475 supply. Okay, very clear there. And on the ES, I would be watching the demand below at 4,800 right here. I'd be watching this potential demand below at 4,800, and I would be watching the supply above at 4,820. Okay? All right, guys. I hope that helps you out today. I hope that the live stream gives you some insight into today's levels. Overall, the market is still making higher lows, even after that sort of drama we saw on Wednesday of last week. It has been a solid move back to the upside. Play the levels. If you pull back to demand, watch those levels. The supply aboves are still important. Don't forget about them, right? And make sure you remember, it's a holiday week. It's the day after Christmas. It might not be too crazy out there. If we start to see some chop today, guys, go back to the family's house, get some leftovers. I would not be pushing it if you start to see that chop set in today. If it's 10, 10:30, 11 o'clock, you haven't liked a single trade, you're starting to see some sideways action, It's not the day to be sitting here until 4 o'clock looking for a trade to take. Okay? Make sure you pay attention to those context clues. If you start to catch some of that choppy action, make sure you trust it, man. This is the hardest part of trading. You know it's there, but you don't listen to yourself, right? You know it's choppy, but you still try to do something. If you start to see it, play it safe. You got a new year approaching. There's going to be plenty of trades to be taken. Make sure you remember that. All right, guys? Press that like button if you could. Thank you for the 1,000 likes. I very much appreciate that. Even on a day we have less viewers, we got more likes. That means we got some good supporters here today, man. Thank you guys for supporting. Thank you for everything. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. We're heading into the new year. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.